Okay. All right. Here it goes again. Research, research, research and act, research and act, research and act, research and act. All right, now this is LGBT blessing time. All right, I'm a human being, and you can put me in a box. You can call me a snake. You can call me a fox. You can describe me as being the enemy. But I put stuff on the table before I die in hopes that you can be more light and goofy. Because there's kids that don't want to follow a gloomy demeanor. And if you present a way of doing things that's sad and heavy and stuff, I declare that there's a way that's cleaner, especially for little kids. So all of a sudden, and this is free flow, but there's a handful of important points here. I was presented with a most lovely problem recently. A query. Okay. There's a precious friend who fits in the LGBT box, bandwagon, choo-choo train, okay? And I'm not going to call that person a snake or a fox. And this was the presentation made to me. The person said, I want to connect with my Christian roots, you see. But I don't really know how to do that because, well, you know, and I know as well, that a bunch of those type of people, les Christians, say that if I am LGBT, I go to hell. And if you would like to make changes that are positive, you know, I mean, first of all, you're a human soul. If you want to make changes that are positive for you, I mean, like for you, if you want to make positive changes that are for you, then if those positive changes include splitting off from your family, splitting off from your posse, like, you know, it's like, okay, if, you know, if I am going to remain in the LGBT bandwagon hut box, if I remain there peacefully, truly, foundationally, and my relationship with a human person in my life is getting in the way of the most excellent success of lifting up other people, changing the tribe, changing the community, etc., etc., am I willing to gently and firmly break from that relationship in order that my excellence increase? Okay. Like, number one, the answer's got to be yes. I mean, for me, the best thing for me, and for whatever, higher power, if you're going to go in the higher power direction, which we have to because we're talking about trying to make a bridge to Christianity. If excellence for me means somehow setting myself apart from a relationship, or like whatever, a behavior, drinking, drugging, going to certain places where I end up slicing and dicing myself and my plans. You know, we have become powerless and discovered that our favorite pastime got in the way of our flippin' business, ruined relationships, etc., right? Ding, ding. Okay, so research and act. Okay, so you can do research and you can find information. Okay, you can find information. But then, if you research and find information and then you don't act on the information, then it doesn't matter that much whether you've done the research. Ding, ding, right? Okay, so research and act. I have done research, and I have discovered that I am eternal. Checking into afterlife stuff. I mean, when I've interacted with people that have had, near-death experiences, etc., they're like, "Whoa, the next realm. Whoa, it's as real as Ohio." And I've had, I've heard people's descriptions of it being absolutely dark, terrifying, like, death, stench, etc., etc. Check out Dr. Rawlings. Dr. Rawlings, near-death experience. He's got this thing called To Hell and Back. He's a neurosurgeon. No, he's a heart surgeon. And he wrote this cool book on how a quarter of a cup of wine does amazing things for your bloodstream. If you take a quarter of a cup of wine every day, it's like a great medicine. But you can also do apple cider vinegar. That does the same thing. Think about it. ACV shot in the morning, right? A little cayenne pepper, a little honey, a little lemon. Cook it up, Anyhow, I am eternal. And my eternal form, my eternal inner thing, is eternal. And I mean, the stories that I've gotten from near-death experience people is like, the next realm is the next reality. You're still totally you. And it's a real place, like Ohio, and the grass is greener, and the light is brighter, and all that type of stuff. And so, it's kind of wild because I moved from New Jersey to Santa Cruz to Pacific Beach, San Diego, California, Pacific Beach, Southern California. I was 18 years old because I had had enough of the educational combine. I had over-credentialed parents. I grew up in research and library information. In a way, I was a person that had so much early access to information. It's almost like I grew up when I was growing up. I grew up in as much saturation of information as you have now in the computer zone age time. And number one, I'll say to you, if you are curious about Christianity and you're in the LGBT zone, okay, from my personal research, go after Derek Prince. There's like 1 hour studies on the web. There's a bunch of them. The ones on spiritlessons.com are all free. And, just giving you my personal, I've toured through a lot of teachers and stuff, and this person has a university level, sweet, gentle, dry humor, British accent presentation of, if this is what's written, standard Christianity is probably pretty wrong. And if this is what's written, standard Christianity is probably pretty wrong, so we ought to rethink this. And he very gently and cleanly tears down everybody's icons and structures. And he is a very, very sweet and tender ruiner of, like, salad bar Christianity, where it's like, oh, well, I only like this stuff, and I hate that stuff, and I hate that stuff. We just go to this area, and that's our space, because, like, I'm not into religion, okay? I was an anti-Christian bigot. I was not into religious stuff. And then it kind of dawned on me, hey, if anybody's doing this Christianity thing and they don't take the whole bundle, then they're just freaking lying to themselves. So, like, don't shackle yourself to the supernatural visitor inside of Christianity and say, I am one with Jesus, and then make it a freaking lie. You know what I'm saying? Do not do that. Let me say that again. Do not say, I am one with Jesus, and not take the time to discern that the Dead Sea Scrolls prove that the Old Testament hasn't been changed. The Bible's 3 parts: predictions and preparations, life and teachings of the supernatural visitor, and the first peoples that received the transfer of supernatural powers. There's teachings about wise ways of doing things. That's the essence of the Buddha. Muhammad was raised up basically to smash down the paradigms of Christianity 600 years after Mashiach. You've got Buddha here, the enlightened one. You've got Mashiach, which means the empowered one. And then you've got Muhammad 600 years after that. It's like Buddha, 600 years to Mashiach, and then 600 years to Muhammad. But in between, you've got church and state. You've got Constantine justifying death and destruction and militaristic, etc., etc. And actually, between Buddha and Mashiach, the Hebrew scriptures were translated into Greek and spread around the business world. But, that's ancillary research information. The primary thing is, if you're trying to test out this stuff, like, you're dealing with an actual person. Yahweh Spirit is a person. So, if you say to the whole posse in on your team, I am taking a 0 quietness break from, the t-shirt that I wear and the team that I'm on, and I'm going to jump off of it and walk in a quiet way. And in that zone, in that time of quietness, in that taking a vacation from your particular zone of activity, and you may actually, generally, you end up getting called into the zone of activity that is actually anti, like, your stance. If you actually go in and love and actually humbly learn from those who are the most diametrically opposed from you in the zone of Christianity, and then say to the sweet one, I know that your sweetness is interacting with me. Prove to me that you're real, because I have put to quiet this thing or that thing. Like, test the spirit and see what happens. See if there are indicators in your life because you put this thing up on the altar or that thing up on the altar to burn. Do you understand what that means? I don't know. Maybe I'm talking in too many, metaphors or something. You could say, I don't understand. And I don't understand is a good thing. See, what I realized was, if there is a present darkness that's like very insipid and covers over beneficial things, and we are eternal, right? And we are affecting another generation. Like, we live for this long, we live from here to there, boom. And then we die, and then there's another generation that rises up and goes forward. Then our effect on the next generation and our awareness of the spirit realm and the afterlife is a paramount thing. It's like the most important business in our life, to understand the mechanics of the spirits around us and the afterlife. And the principles of that are that there is one, the concept is that there is one spirit that made the littler spirit beings and the human beings and the animal beings. And there's a 3-layer strata: animal, human, and spirit being or angel being. So, and the human has a physical, protein casing that's like a dumb animal, but that has inhabiting it an amazing spirit that lives beyond the death of the physical body. And in the account in Genesis about the enticement of the human race, don't be afraid of the Adam and Eve story.